Another great interview segment from the Racing Insider Show.
On the line with us now is John Dagys, one of the great writers. You probably stay in touch with him at speed.com. Had a good article recently about some of the changing in attitudes that are happening in the Grand Am paddock. He talked to some of the team owners at Road Atlanta, found that some of the bliss from the merger talks is maybe past now. Would you say that, John?
Yeah, it was quite a wake-up call when I walked around the paddock last weekend at Road Atlanta. A lot of teams were a little skeptical, particularly Daytona prototype teams, about the whole merger process with LMP2 and DP cars. And what started as an investigation of trying to figure out what changes would you be willing to make to a DP car turned into almost a case of many of the DP owners not wanting P2 cars there in the first place. You know, more of a case of big technical differences between the two platforms and a more sophisticated LMP2 car and a much quicker LMP2 car would require a massive budget increase for Daytona prototype owners.
Do you think that it's possible to equate these two very different cars?
I think it would be very difficult to keep it balanced on a regular basis. You know, you might be able to get it right on some tracks, but at a place like Daytona, where speed is a huge variable, you know, where you rely on a large rate of speed compared to maybe like a Lime Rock or a Laguna Seca, there's a lot of different tracks. I have the faith in them that they'll get the job done, but there's still a little question in the back of my mind if it'll be 100% perfect everywhere we go. Yeah,
John, my quick question is one of the nuances in your article. In there you mentioned one of the team owners had made a comment, something to the effect, we know who they are and relate it to money. Is at this level, with DP having the majority of the cars, Grand Am being the 400-pound gorilla in the room, is there actually teams out there that are fearful that one of the four P2 cars is going to have some kind of advantage politically because of money?
I don't think that politically there's any concern. It's more of a case of, I think the ALMS teams have larger budgets right now than Grand Am teams, you know. And operating costs for a Daytona prototype and a P2 car are roughly the same. You know, you're talking about $2 million to $2.5 million a year to operate one of those, a one-car team in either ALMS or Grand Am. I think teams in ALMS have larger budgets, and they're able to spend a little more on research and development, on testing, on presentation, and I think that it's causing some concerns in the Grand Am paddock.
Yeah, well, I guess my question is kind of along that budget item. I mean, one thing I didn't see in your article is, I mean, as a member of Spirited Daytona, I mean, I think we're looking at $750,000 to $1 million more in our budget next year to run Sebring and Petit Le Mans.
No, that's another big concern as well, but I didn't have enough room to put that in the article. I'm actually working on a few other stories in the weeks to come. Operating costs from our standpoint increase is also a huge concern as well, because you'll add, like you mentioned, Sebring and Petit Le Mans, and that's one of the reasons why the Unified Series wants to keep the schedule at 10 to 12 races. Yeah, it's all a work in progress, it seems. You know, it's good that Grand Am and IMSA are opening up the floor to gather teams' opinions, but it's getting a little late in the game right now. You know, we're 9 months until the Rolex 24, and teams have to start making decisions. A, firstly, on what kind of car to run for next year, and B, what kind of budgets it'll be, and C, all the ancillary stuff.
Do you think any of these new attitudes that are coming from the paddock, is this anything that could throw a monkey wrench in the machinery that's making this merger come to be?
In the short term, I don't think so. I think that everybody is in agreement that a unified series is what we need. You know, it's been long overdue right now, you know, through the years with ALMS and Grand Am pretty much fighting against each other for the attention in the North American sports car market. And I think people are willing for some compromise, but it'll be interesting to see how the first 2 years are of this unified series and seeing what develops and what compromises are made. And if it's a case of budgets increasing, you know, you might slowly see some teams fade away or go to some other championships like World Challenge, for instance. Or, you know, you never know what could happen in the future.
The Racing Insiders on MAV TV every Thursday at 2 and 5 o'clock Eastern and again on Saturdays at 12:30 midday.